Hey again, welcome to Hands on High Tech. I've been busy around the farm, actually building a shop, another shop. Kind of been tied up, but today I am working on something else. Come along, like and subscribe below. I'll show you what we got. So I fixed this tire. Very similar tire to like what you would find on I actually think it was adapted on a bike, but it goes to this. So this is a horse cart that I picked up used. I think this thing was advertised for about 50 bucks, but the tires were flat on it. So I just fixed the one. I'm gonna flip it over. Basically you have to unbolt here on both sides and then it pulls right off. This is a trainer cart. There is a regular cart. This one's in a little better shape. And it actually is pulled by many horses that you've probably seen on the channel before. So with that said, I'm gonna take you along for the ride and show you maybe getting us off here on the cart in a minute. So I suggest a pump. Bicycle pump is good. I'll show you why. Inner tube and some kind of screwdriver. I use this long one. This is a Husky, so I picked this up at probably Home Depot. I think they have Husky stuff. This one has a little bit of air in it, but I'm going to replace it since I have an inner tube for it. It's just not holding like it should. So what you do is you take your screwdriver under, you grab a hold of that, and the way I do it is to kind of just run it around the edge of the tire, and you eventually will pop off. So I have another tool I sometimes use, but to grab it and just pull it the rest of the way. There you go. So now I got the first side of that off, right? And then the other side should just kind of peel off. But you're gonna wanna make sure you get the stem out from the old inner tube. And sometimes that's kind of hard to push through, but kind of line it up. Smaller tire like this, I think it's always a little harder. Here, just go this direction. There we go, popped right out. Now, I'm gonna explain this in a second, but one thing you wanna do is make sure this rubber piece around here looks decent, and it's not the best, but make sure it's lined up over the pins, because that can cause you issues with your inner tube and puncturing holes. So I just kind of try to make sure it's lined up like that. Put that aside for a second. Now let's just rip this piece out of here. And I said, this one wasn't as bad as the other one, but they're pretty old. I can even feel like rubber being a little sticky, so let's toss that one. I think I'll put a link for these. These were 16 by 1.75, 2.15. And so I think they were just, I don't remember, like $6-7 on Amazon. Pretty cheap for an inner tube, just a peace of mind. And of course, when you're having a mini pull you, or even training, you don't want this collapsing. So take that out. That's trash. This is rubber band they always put around these, kind of hold them in place. I use it just to kind of put it around the trash. It's easier to pick up later. Okay, put that over at the inner tube. Now the first thing I do is I kind of undo this, get it stretched out a little bit. And then I open it up and I actually put enough air in this to what I would call balloon it up. So that's what the bike pump is for. I put it on, I pump air in it. And like I said, it works the same, honestly, if you're doing a bike inner tube. So kind of like that. Something that's gonna hold shape. You could even have a little more air in it than that. I'll work with this for now. You don't want to put that back on right now, like I just did. So the next thing I do is I put this piece back over. So I basically put the first layer of this tire back in the rim, which is that back side. And sometimes you can do this by hand, but normally, unless you got really strong hands, you're gonna need some help. So that's where this comes in. Again, I get the screwdriver and kind of, don't get it in too deep that you mess up that rubber piece under there. But just take it around that one side, right, until you get the one side in. Now don't get both in like I almost did there, because if you do, you won't have an inner tube in there and any will seal. Now, so I got the one side in, holes right here. So what we're gonna do is I like to feed this through, and I like to just push it up in. And I do think I need just a hair more air in that to make it work right. Okay, there we go, that's better. Now, I like to feed it up in, and I feed it in to the tire first, making sure that you don't let that stem slide out of place. So really the trick is feeding it in kind of both sides evenly. Hence why you want a little bit of air in it, but not too much. Just like that. You can see how it popped into place. Now make sure that you're perfectly lined up in the hole, and then I push my stem up in and let it pop through just like that. And now it's through, so I can pull it down like that. And now is when I put the cap on it to keep it from going back through. So if you screw the cap on while you're finishing the tire, then the inner tube stem will not pull back through. So now, let's slip the rest of this tire on there. And lots of times this, you do not have to use the tool on. It's a good thing, because if you did, you could actually damage your inner tube. So sometimes you do though, but I actually like to try to not use tools and just pop it in like that. Now, pull the stem down just enough to be able to get the bike pump on. Now I'll put the bike pump on this. And for this one, I usually pump it to about 20, 25 PSI. Just starting to get some pressure in it. Coming up. Okay, let's see what that is. That's about 20. Okay. Just like that. Things are holding nice and strong. Put the cap back on it. Now we are going to put this tire back on, and you just drop it right back in the hole and slots where they were. This particular frame, I like to pull out and then just kind of tap down on these nuts a little bit. Make sure they're seated. Okay, and then tighten. Okay, and you can tighten one at a time or both or all the above. I am just going to tighten down. I don't know if there's a torque setting on these, but I can tell you, you want to torque enough that they don't come off when you're going down the road. Okay, that's got that one. Let's take another half turn on that one. And that is not gonna come out. And both those wheels look great. And that's it, job done. Wheels in good shape. Now, this particular cart, I'm probably gonna clean up a little bit more, but as I said, pretty inexpensive cart, just a little bit of work, and you got a really nice working cart. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe below.